What's up with all the tattoos, man? What's going on? You got.
What? You want to know the truth?
Yes, I want to know the truth.
All right, brother. I got tired of my face, man. I had that face for 28 years. I wanted a new face.
You think you know Blueface, but you don't. What you're about to see will shock you. When he went into prison, he was the same chaotic, confident rapper the world knew. But when he came out, almost everything changed. His face, covered in random tattoos. His eyes, empty, distant. His energy, completely different. Some say it's prison survival. Others say it's part of a darker, ritualistic system designed to break someone down and rebuild them as something else. And the craziest part? Most people have no idea what really happened behind those walls. Watch closely, because by the end of this video, you'll see why the new Blueface isn't just a man who changed. It's a warning, a message, and a transformation that's impossible to ignore. Many believe that something serious happened to Blueface while he was behind bars. Fans who remember him before prison say the spark in his eyes is gone and that he returned looking like a completely different person. The internet immediately noticed changes. The random face tattoos, the blank stare, the altered voice, all signaling a shift from the person he once was. Some link this to the idea of humiliation rituals in Hollywood, where the industry allegedly breaks people down, remakes them, and sends them back out as symbols of control. While some argue that Blueface isn't influential enough for such treatment, others suggest that the point isn't his status but the message it sends, that is branded or owned. Whether this theory is overblown or not, the timing and nature of his transformation align almost too perfectly with long-standing warnings about how the system can reshape someone in ways that shock the public. This is the new Blueface, and he's almost unrecognizable. Something about him feels forced, like none of this was his choice. When he first went into prison, he was just the same Blueface we knew, same attitude, same face, same chaotic celebrity energy. Months later, the first leaked photos made fans think he had simply gained weight, but by the time he was released on November 3rd, it was clear something far more drastic had happened. Blueface began posting images and videos showing a face covered in bizarre tattoos, logos and symbols scattered across his forehead, cheeks, and jaw, including brands like Chase, Walgreens, MLB, and YSL. It's random, confusing, and unsettling. But it's not just the tattoos. Fans note that his eyes look flat, his expressions are different, his movements are off, and even the way he dresses seems entirely altered, leaving everyone questioning what really happened to him inside.
Second to myself. Second to myself, man. Get out of here. You know what I mean? Gotta let them know what time it is. I'm dead on you. Good, great.
Yes, Blueface obviously put on some weight, but fans insist that isn't the real issue. What unsettles them is how different his entire energy feels. One circulating theory claims that prison gang members pressured him into getting all those face tattoos, something that reportedly happens in prisons simply for amusement. Supporters of this idea believe Blueface may have gone along with it to avoid becoming an easy target. But there's another angle people online point to. They cite Katt's past comments about so-called dress rituals, where entertainers are supposedly pushed into wearing dresses on camera. According to Katt, the clothing itself isn't the point, it's the act of surrender, the symbolic submission. He argued that the power of these rituals comes from what they represent, not how people react to them. Katt even challenged audiences to find a Hollywood figure who wore a dress and didn't succeed afterward, using that as his example of how these patterns supposedly reveal themselves. And with that mindset, some people believe Blueface's dramatic change might signal something larger than just prison antics. But Katt didn't stop with the idea of humiliation tactics. Far from it. Over the years, he's taken his commentary even deeper, claiming that the strange outfits, branding-style tattoos, bizarre publicity stunts, and sudden bursts of public embarrassment in the entertainment world are part of a broader pattern that he interprets as Baphomet-related symbolism practiced by powerful figures behind the scenes. According to him, these public moments aren't random or simply eccentric artistic expressions. He views them as highly intentional gestures tied to a system that thrives on control, submission, and ritualistic communication. Katt says he first noticed this decades ago, long before social media dissected every celebrity meltdown or fashion choice. He claims that certain terms, trends, and symbols, especially those linked to identity, gender expression, and rebellion against traditional norms, reminded him of old references associated with Baphomet, a figure historically used in various interpretations of occult imagery. One of his most controversial points is that he saw the term transgender appear in texts or diagrams related to Baphomet, which he believed hinted at how certain concepts would eventually become mainstream. To Katt, this wasn't because he saw the future, but because he believed he was observing a pattern, one that he thought had been in motion for generations. He argues that, within his interpretation of these rituals, followers or participants were expected to perform symbolic acts to show allegiance. In his eyes, that's why he believed certain trends would eventually surface, such as the sudden rise of specific fashion choices, recurring references to goats, and the use of language that previously had no cultural weight. According to him, this explains why terms like the GOAT, greatest of all time, suddenly exploded in popularity after being relatively niche for decades. Katt believes these shifts didn't just happen naturally but reflected deeper symbolic messaging that only made sense if you understood the ritualistic framework he was referencing. Now, it's important to stress that you don't have to accept these interpretations. Many people don't, to acknowledge that the entertainment world can still be a dark, manipulative, and pressure-filled environment. Even without Katt's symbolic theories, Katt have spoken publicly about the immense psychological strain, contractual limitations, and emotional exploitation that can come with fame. Kanye West himself once described the industry as a system designed to control, traumatize, and monetize its stars, and many fans believe that sentiment rings true regardless of any occult symbolism. Whether or not symbolic rituals are involved, there's little debate that the industry has a long history of shaping and reshaping entertainers in ways that are often uncomfortable, exploitative, or damaging. Katt has been echoing this broader idea for years, insisting that beneath the glamour, the entertainment industry relies on trauma, pressure, and public humiliation as tools to break down certain individuals. According to him, these tactics are used to test whether a performer can be controlled or molded into the image that powerful figures want. He frequently points to actors being pushed into wearing dresses against their will, comedians forced into roles that go against their talent or identity, and celebrities suddenly engaging in strange or extreme behavior that seems completely out of character. To Katt, these aren't coincidences or creative experiments. They are pressure tests, symbolic acts, or forms of spiritual submission. He argues that the pattern is always the same. Take someone who is rising too fast, becoming too outspoken, or displaying too much independence, and then break them down through highly public, deeply embarrassing visuals or situations. The method varies. Some go through wardrobe choices that shock the audience, some end up in scandals that tarnish their image, and others suddenly shift their entire persona overnight. But to Katt, the underlying mechanism is identical regardless of the form it takes. And this, in his view, is where Blueface situation fits into the conversation. For Katt, it is never truly about the dress, the meltdown, the haircut, or, when applied to someone like Blueface, the tattoos plastered across his face. None of these are the point. They are the surface-level manifestations of something much deeper. What matters, Katt argues, is what these moments represent. The breaking of a person's spirit, the stripping away of their autonomy, and the transformation of someone into what he often describes as a puppet or a product that can be marketed, controlled, and displayed. From Katt's perspective, visible transformations become markers, not of rebellion, but of surrender. He believes these moments reflect a kind of symbolic reset, where the individuality of the entertainer is wiped clean and replaced with something manufactured. Whether it's a dress worn by an actor, a bizarre public appearance by a musician, or a sudden change in behavior by someone who once seemed grounded, Katt sees the same pattern of power at play. To him, these events are never accidents or spontaneous choices. They are deliberate turning points designed to humiliate, humble, or reshape the individual. They function almost like checkpoints in a system that constantly evaluates who is willing to play along and who must be corrected. And in that context, Blueface's drastic transformation, tattoos, altered demeanor, and all, becomes, at least through Katt's lens, less of a personal choice and more of a symbolic gesture indicating that something within him has been broken, restructured, or claimed. Katt's point has always been that not everyone moves through the world in the same way, and that's exactly why so few people ever publicly challenged or denied his claims over the years. His message was never intended to be about any one person or situation alone. It was broader, pointing to the idea that spiritual forces, repeating patterns, and ritualistic behaviors exist all around us, manifesting far too consistently to be chalked up to mere coincidence. He argued that the world operates according to certain rules of influence and control, and that those patterns can be observed in the way power is exercised across various systems, whether obvious or hidden. While Katt was never specifically speaking about prison, the logic of his observations doesn't change when applied to environments like that. In his view, power functions in the same way everywhere. Whether it's the executives and gatekeepers of Hollywood or the figures controlling the prison industrial complex, which some believe overlap, the methods remain strikingly similar. If someone wants to humble, reshape, or send a message through a person, they will do so in a way that is highly visible, almost impossible to ignore. The goal, according to Katt, isn't subtlety. It's the demonstration of authority and control in a way that leaves a permanent impression on both the subject and the public. When people point out that Blueface appears to have undergone exactly the kind of transformation Katt has long described, it's no surprise. These reactions didn't spring up out of nowhere. They are the culmination of patterns that have been repeating for decades. And it isn't unprecedented for the public to witness a celebrity emerge from prison looking entirely different, as though the person who left is only a shadow of the one who entered. Gucci Mane is a prime example. After his release, his demeanor, energy, and public persona were so drastically altered that fans joked, and some genuinely wondered, if he had been cloned or replaced entirely. The theory, as Katt and others frame it, follows a very deliberate sequence. Identify a celebrity who is already unstable, controversial, or difficult to control, then push them to the edge, not far enough to destroy them completely, but enough to destabilize them mentally and emotionally. Isolation is key, and nothing creates isolation, vulnerability, and pressure quite like prison. Within that context, the environment itself acts as a crucible, breaking down old behaviors and forcing the individual to confront extreme stress, humiliation, and loss of control. Blueface's case fits this pattern almost perfectly. He entered prison loud, cocky, and seemingly unshaken, someone confident in his identity, his image, and his place in the world. Yet, the man who walked out appeared spiritually drained and emotionally altered in ways that were impossible to ignore. Fans and observers noted a complete shift in his energy, expressions, and even the way he carried himself, creating the sense that something fundamental inside him had changed. The visible transformation, the tattoos, the altered gaze, the change in tone and movement, made it clear that the person he had been before incarceration no longer existed in the same form. Even his own statements after his release reinforced this narrative, apologizing for past actions, reflecting on his time inside, and mentioning that he had taken classes while incarcerated. These words, combined with his changed appearance and demeanor, gave viewers the impression of someone not just physically altered, but actively rebuilding himself from the ground up, trying to regain control of a life that had been subjected to extreme external pressures. In the end, Katt's observations provide a lens through which to view these transformations, not as coincidences, but as part of larger, recurring patterns of control, power, and public spectacle. Whether one believes that there are spiritual or ritualistic forces at play, or whether the change is simply the result of extreme circumstances, the evidence of transformation is tangible and undeniable. Blueface's journey serves as a modern illustration of how power, environment, and circumstance can converge to alter a person in ways that ripple outward, affecting not only the individual but also the perception of them in the eyes of the world. When it comes to Blueface's new face tattoos, the internet has gone absolutely wild, spinning a variety of theories about what could possibly be behind them. Ever since images and videos started circulating showing the rapper with his forehead, cheeks, and jawline covered in a chaotic grid of logos and symbols, fans, commentators, and conspiracy enthusiasts alike have been trying to make sense of it. Some people are convinced that Blueface didn't actually choose this look himself. They point out that the tattoos are so random, mismatched, and, frankly, deliberately unattractive, that it seems highly unlikely someone would voluntarily select them as a personal style statement. The theory goes that he may have been branded by other inmates while in prison, a move meant to mark him in some way or assert dominance over him. In this interpretation, the tattoos aren't a fashion choice, they are a form of control, a visible statement that someone else had power over him at a vulnerable time in his life. Another, perhaps even more elaborate, theory suggests that these logos aren't random at all, but instead are some kind of coded messages intended for insiders in the entertainment industry. This idea draws on a pattern that has long fascinated fans. When celebrities go through public breakdowns or what some call humiliation phases, their visual transformations often don't make sense to the average observer, but supposedly carry deep symbolic meaning behind the scenes. Fans love to point to examples like Britney Spears shaving her head during her personal crisis, Kanye West and his mask era, or Orlando Brown's erratic behavior and cryptic statements. To many viewers, Blueface stepping out of prison with a series of bizarre face logos fits into this same narrative of extreme visual shock meant to signal something bigger than meets the eye. Conspiracy-minded individuals even speculate that each logo and symbol on his face could represent a specific stage or step in a ritualistic process, almost as if it's a roadmap for insiders to read while the public simply sees chaos. Of course, there's also the possibility that none of this is part of a larger plan or hidden messaging at all. Some people insist that Blueface may have simply been involved in a fight inside prison and received these tattoos as part of the aftermath, either as a result of coercion, intimidation, or even fear for his safety. In this interpretation, agreeing to the tattoos could have been a survival tactic, a way to protect himself and avoid further conflict. From this perspective, the tattoos are less about symbolism or hidden messages and more about navigating the harsh realities of the prison environment, where compliance and submission can literally mean the difference between safety and danger. Regardless of which theory you subscribe to, there's one undeniable fact. The Blueface who walked out of prison is dramatically different from the Blueface who went in. His energy, mannerisms, and presence have all shifted in ways that are impossible to ignore. Fans describe him as looking like a completely different person, almost as if something fundamental within him has changed. His facial expressions seem altered, his voice and tone carry a different energy, and even his overall demeanor appears subdued and controlled compared to the confident, chaotic persona he displayed before. Whether you attribute this to the tattoos, psychological strain, or some combination of factors, the transformation is striking and has left the public both fascinated and concerned. So, the big question arises, are people overanalyzing Blueface's transformation, or is there something deeper at play? Is this simply the result of prison violence, social pressure, and survival instincts, or could it be a form of symbolic branding, a message meant to demonstrate control, submission, or transformation? Some theorists connect it to what Katt has long discussed regarding humiliation rituals in the entertainment industry, patterns in which individuals are publicly broken down, reshaped, or made to submit to systems of power as a warning or statement for others to see. In that context, Blueface face tattoos could be read as a public manifestation of that kind of ritualized humiliation, not just about aesthetics, but about sending a larger message. If that is the case, it raises questions about the role of symbolism, control, and power in both the prison system and the broader celebrity industrial complex. Even if you're skeptical of these theories, it's hard to ignore the parallels between Blueface and other celebrities who have undergone drastic transformations under pressure. Observers often point to how certain artists emerge from personal crises, legal troubles, or industry manipulation looking almost unrecognizable, both physically and emotionally. The common thread seems to be that extreme circumstances, whether prison, public scrutiny, or orchestrated humiliation, can fundamentally alter a person's appearance, behavior, and presence in ways that the public rarely fully understands. Blueface's case simply puts this phenomenon into sharp focus because the change is so visually jarring and immediate. At the end of the day, the effect on the audience is the same, regardless of the reason. People see someone they thought they knew, and it feels like a completely new person is standing before them. His tattoos, altered energy, and changed persona invite speculation, discussion, and debate. Was this a survival strategy in prison? A subtle ritual? A message to the industry? Or just an extreme personal evolution brought on by extraordinary circumstances? No one can say for sure. So, the conversation continues, and the floor is open for debate. Are we overreacting, reading too much into visual changes and symbolism, or is there really something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Is it a warning, a ritual, or just the natural consequence of extreme experiences? Whatever the answer, Blueface's transformation has captured the attention of the public, leaving many to wonder about power, control, and symbolism in ways that go far beyond just a face full of tattoos. Share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is really going on? Is this just prison life, or is there a deeper story being told through Blueface's new look? Drop your take, and we'll keep the conversation going.